Pigweed here. Today we review a homebrew and discuss gerrymandering. Again. Well, good evening, Crowhill.
Hey, good evening, Pigweed. How's it going?
Clink. Oh, that's the wrong beer.
How about some beer and conversation?
I think that's a great idea. What are we having?
Well, so this is a homebrew.
Good.
Okay.
So we'll drink that.
Yeah, so what's on your mind?
So the gerrymandering thing, we did this a while back, but in just sort of a generic sense, just because, I don't know, it's a topic I had on my mind. And now it's become sort of everybody's talking about it.
I know, because the Texas, it's crazy.
We got the Texas thing and the runaway Democrats and all of that, so I thought we would get back into it.
Yeah, okay, well, that's good. So what we're drinking here is, this was our Christmas in July activity, and I forgot that I was trying to make a Christmas beer. I thought we were just brewing, and I decided I was going to do a brown ale. And you wrote back and said, that's not much of a Christmas beer. And I said, oh, it's not.
Yes.
So I had to jack it up to make it an imperial brown ale with some Christmas spices in it.
Very good.
So that's what we've got here.
So this was 4 weeks ago, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe
and the first time I tasted it, I thought it's going to need some time for the spices to mellow out.
And what are the added spices?
Mostly cinnamon, but there's a little bit of nutmeg and a couple other...
Allspice?
Yeah, a little bit of allspice, yeah. Right. But, I mean, I think it's the cinnamon that is a little overpowering, but let's see. Let's see if it's...
You know, don't you still have a satchel of anise?
Oh, yeah. I've got a railroad car full of anise in my basement,
Yeah, we could have done that. And, I should have thrown that in mine. So
okay, well, it's mellowed out a bit more than it was before. It's still maybe a bit strong on the cinnamon flavor, but it's not as... When I first drank it, I said, ooh, this is harsh.
Right there on the back end.
Yeah.
The back of your tongue, on the back, after you swallow, there's like a little
kick
excessive punch.
Yeah, but when I first tasted it, it was like, ooh, this is bad. Right. It's too harsh. Right. So it started to mellow out already.
Well, that's just the whole idea of Christmas in July.
Exactly.
Precisely.
Give it 6 months to...
you brew a strong beer with some strong spices that, sit on the shelf until Thanksgiving, and you drink it for the holidays.
There you go. Okay. And that's,
so you're saying you think it's on its way?
It's on its way.
Now,
so
it needs some more carb.
Yeah, I know. I'm not thrilled with my carbonation. I think I undershot the priming sugar, but that might pick up a bit between now and Christmas. We'll see. But it's not terribly undercarb. It's just
it's a style that doesn't need to be heavily carb. Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, so gerrymandering. Why is it called gerrymandering?
I think it has something to do with a guy named Jerry. Yeah. And it sounds like a joke, but it's not.
No, it's not. Some guy named Jerry drew a district that looked like a salamander.
Yeah, it's like I think this is in the early 1800s. Things were pretty, blocky about your district. And then they said, well, why don't we? I got an idea. Let's make this little group over here. Let's follow this river down here and whatever.
To try to get an advantage for your party.
Yes, and so this was the beginning of that idea, and it looked like a salamander, and we're stuck with gerrymandering. We are stuck with gerrymandering.
I don't think that's what he wanted to be remembered for.
Right. He probably passed some really important legislation somewhere that he thought he would be remembered for.
It's like the guy who wrote The Night Before Christmas. The silly Christmas story.
Yeah, he wrote a bunch of other stuff.
He wrote a bunch of other serious stuff, and that's what he wanted to be remembered for, and he's remembered for The Night Before Christmas.
Well, that's not a bad thing. But
no, it's not a bad thing.
It's not as serious.
It's not as serious. Yeah, I'm sure he wrote a bunch of important things about infralapsarianism or something. But so gerrymandering, we've got this thing where every 10 years congressional districts change, right? And it's in response to the census.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we do a census every 10 years, and then based on the census,
some regions grow, some regions lose population, and so they need to be redrawn.
Right.
And so you have, I don't know, do you have like bipartisan commissions that get together? And,
well, in some states you do. In some states you have bipartisan commissions. In other states it's just whoever's in power in the state does it.
Right. Right. Whoever's in power draws it in their favor, and then the other guy takes it to court, and then it's in court for a while, and they got to redraw, and it's I don't know why we don't have a better system for how this is drawn, but we'll get into that a little bit. Yeah. But the idea is, well, back in old Jerry's day, it wasn't evenly distributed.
No.
The idea wasn't that, look, we're going to make every representative represent roughly the same number of people.
Isn't that interesting? It's kind of like, because if you think about it, the whole point is you want to represent people who have common interests.
Yeah.
Right? So the idea would be the farmers are over here and the city folk are over here and whoever's over there. So you'd say these people in this region have a common interest. So we're going to put them together in a district.
Yeah.
And maybe the farming area had fewer numbers of people than the city area. But that was okay early on. And then there's a Supreme Court ruling that said, no. It's got to be same number of people in each district.
Right. And I had, and in my quick math, I said that was about 400,000 per representative, and I was way off. It's 747,000 people.
Yeah, and I'm sure that the representative knows all those 740,000.
Does that seem like a lot?
It does seem like a lot.
So they locked in 435 members in 1929.
Yeah.
And so as the country has exploded in population since then, we haven't added any representatives. We just blown up this number up to, who knows, it was probably 200,000 in 1929.
Yeah.
And now we're at 750,000 per representative.
And 200,000 is still a lot for the one representative to represent, but 750,000 or whatever, that's crazy. It seems like if the House of Representatives is supposed to be the people's house, the Senate is supposed to be the sort of the intellectual house.
To that. Well, I don't need to mess with that.
Yeah. So the House of Representatives should be more representative of the people, and it seems like there should be a little closer connection between the representative and the people.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think another thing, I think that they complain about these long. Right now we're in the summer
recess.
Summer recess. Yeah. It's like these guys never work. I would like them to work less. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I would like to go home and spend time in Missouri and Wyoming.
Exactly.
Don't spend all your time in Washington.
Yeah.
And go home and do and be with your people.
Yeah, I think the country is safer when Congress is not in session.
I'm a huge fan of gridlock.
Yeah, I know. I'm a big fan of
less that you do. Every time you pass something,
it's probably stupid. Yeah.
It's going to. Whether it's stupid or not, it's going to do two things. It's going to cost money.
Yeah.
And it's going to limit somebody's freedom.
Right.
There's never laws that increase freedom.
Yeah.
A law can only come in.
I can think of one.
Okay.
Right turn on red after stop.
Wow, that was a nice one.
That was a nice one. That was a nice one.
You go, hey, that's pretty good. And when Larry Hogan moved the school year to after Labor Day, until the next Democrat came in, and now the kids are going back to school tomorrow
in August. It's terrible.
So this is doesn't have to do with gerrymandering. Just
the basic process.
Make me think that so that's how the representatives are. So then they've decided in this drawing process to kind of lump people together.
Yeah.
And
well, before we get to the gerrymandering, I want to talk about one thing, which is the relationship of the census to the apportionment of representatives per state, and why that's distorted by immigration. Okay, because let's say, so the deal is you count up how many people there are in the United States, and then you say, here's this magical number. What is it? 435. What was it?
447.
447. So you have to divide up the country, whatever the population of the country is. You divide it by 447, and that's how many representatives you have, and they get apportioned in the states based on their population.
Yes.
Well, if you have a whole lot more illegal immigrants in your area, that means you have a higher population counted for the census.
Oh, don't get me started. It's not a representation of a number of bodies walking around. It's the number of U.S. citizens.
That's the problem, because the census in the past did count the number of bodies walking around. It counted the illegal aliens, and Trump tried to reverse that and say,
I just thought that was this was the last Trump administration. I thought this is a gimme here.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the possible argument here?
Right. Why would it make any sense whatsoever for in terms of creating congressional districts? Why would it make any sense whatsoever to count illegal immigrants? And there's only one reason. which is Democratic states have more illegal immigrants in them, which means that they get more representation in Congress.
Yes,
so it's completely a scam. I mean, the whole...
They're like, So one step back from that is the other weird question I see sometimes. Should legal immigrants be entitled to government benefits? And I'm like, why are you even asking that question?
Yeah.
You're not even entitled to breathe the same air and drink the same water as everybody else.
You're not even entitled to be here.
Not even be here. We're going to quibble over which government taxpayer benefits you're entitled to.
Yeah.
So that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And because those things go to American citizens.
Right.
Just like representation.
Yeah.
Could you imagine being in another country illegally and then griping about the government
you're not paying for my apartment. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and the thing is, the United States is unlike every other country on the face of the earth in terms of the way we deal with immigrants. Every other country, if you outstay your visa, you're gone. If you're there illegally, they kick you out.
Yeah.
And you don't get any benefits. Yeah. And also, you can't even come into the country in some cases unless you have some... reasonable reason to be in that country.
Yes.
Nobody else has birthright citizenship or any of that other kind of nonsense. We are so out of the mainstream in terms of the way we treat immigrants.
Yeah, and without the illegal immigration, we already blow away the entire world, probably put together, in legal immigration.
Right.
And we also have to lead the world
in illegal immigration as well. I know it's crazy. But now the only other thing I want to say about the illegal immigrations with the census is what that also does is it gives the citizens in those states, their vote counts more than citizens in other states. So if you have a state that has 20% illegal immigrants in it,
all right,
and you have a state that has 0 illegal immigrants in it,
yeah,
and you allow those numbers to be used in the apportionment of representatives,
yes,
then the actual citizens in the state with the 20% illegal immigrants, their vote counts more than the ones in the state with 0% illegal.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So the way the math works out, it's wrong every way. It's wrong first that you're counting the illegals to begin with, and it's also wrong in that it gives the citizens in that area more bang for their buck in terms of their vote.
Okay, so that's wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this census thing can be readdressed.
I don't know. I hope so. Supposedly we're trying to do a new one, right?
Well, I mean...
Trump has said, let's do a new census and not count the aliens.
Yeah, so, we'll see. We'll see how that works. Now, I've got this. This is Charlie Kirk speaking here.
Mm-hmm.
He says the Democrats rigged the 2020 census, and the Census Bureau has admitted this.
That's not. Yeah, it's not even controversial.
No,
by the way, if you think it's controversial, it's not. It's been. The Democrats have admitted that the 2020 census was wrong.
Well, yes, was skewed in its counting. There are 20 to 30 Democratic seats in the House that would not exist if illegals weren't counted. Well, he's talking about... That's
even a separate issue.
Yeah.
Even aside from the illegals being counted.
It is.
It was wrong. It was wrong for other reasons.
It was just that California was overcounted while Texas was undercounted and that sort of thing. So, at any rate, so that's where we get our numbers. Now, the thing is... Every 10 years, when we do the census, that's when you do the redrawing, right? Because now you got new census numbers, and here we are in 2025, and Texas is redrawing its numbers, and that's how this topic came to the forefront, and why we're doing the show. So, what can you just pick and now California is going to counter.
They're going to try.
They're saying, well, if you're going to redraw yours, then we'll draw, and even Maryland. It's already 7-1.
I know.
We'll get to that.
How much more gerrymandered can Maryland get?
Yeah, right. And so California's like, well, in order to counter Texas's redrawing, we'll redraw ours.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. We've got some standing here in Texas.
Yeah.
And what's the standing in Texas? Is that I don't know when it was, 2021 or whatever.
Yeah.
The 5th District Court said that these numbers are all wrong, that these lines have been drawn wrong.
Yeah.
and you have to redraw these. So this is a court-mandated redistricting. Mm-hmm. This isn't like the governor says, well, now that we have the advantage in the state legislature.
Of that too. But yeah, but it still was mandated by the court. It wasn't like they just made it up.
All right, so I'm digging in this trying to figure out, so what they said you can gerrymander minority majority districts.
Yes.
This ruling was that this was an entirely race-based drawing, ruling.
Yes.
And that's why, and it violates the Voting Rights Act. And I'm going,
how does that work? How do you square that?
I think you're saying the same thing, aren't we?
Yeah.
And apparently there are two different things going on here. Or not, not very different, but two slightly different.
Slightly different. They're just slightly different. So if you redraw them exclusively on the basis of race, then that violates the Constitution. You can't do it. But if race is like one of the factors you're using,
you're kind of redrawing.
You're kind of redrawing on the basis of race, but you're also including some other thing, like which sports team they vote for.
I know. All right, where do you get? What is the other thing?
Yeah. What is the other thing?
If you're talking about racial minority, then what is the majority?
Yeah. So it is complicated, and I think so. My reaction to that question is we're just making up an excuse for doing the racist thing that we want to do. But it is legally a little more complicated than that.
Yes.
Yeah, and the courts have to read minds.
And the courts decided, you're right. This one was exclusively written with race in mind in a way that...
And how do they know that? That's where I think the court thinks it's reading people's minds. Like,
almost.
You did this exclusively for racial reasons. So how do you know?
I mean, I don't know what... I don't know. There must be some definition of majority minority versus strictly racial that I'm not quite getting. But at any rate...
Right. It's something in there
At
somewhere.
any rate, something like that is going on. And they said, okay, so Texas... I don't know if the whole state needs to be redrawn, or probably just these handful of districts have been drawn incorrectly,
right?
According to and so they're just finally getting around to doing the actual redrawing, and the Democrats all over the country
started crying,
are losing their minds.
And the thing is, Republicans and Democrats both do this. When the Republicans are in control and it's time for redistricting, they redistrict in their favor. And when the Democrats are in charge and it's time for redistricting, they do it in their favor.
But also, they're also in cahoots in that, how about this? You make a totally safe district so that we don't have to spend $1 billion every 2 years. Mm-hmm. I'll give you that safe district. You give me this safe district. And then we can just hold our districts forever. And without spending a lot of money,
right?
And I think that they're all kind of agreed.
Yes, because once you're in the club,
right?
Once you're in the congressional,
especially Congress.
Yeah,
I mean, really, you're only in there for 6 months, and you start running for election office again.
I know,
it's only 2 years long. I
know, yeah.
And so
supposedly congressmen spend some enormous portion of their time fundraising for their next election. It's like 50% of their time is spent fundraising.
Yeah, it's only 2 years. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how to get around that because I do like the short short term.
I like
they have.
I like the elections every 2 years.
So both sides like the idea of safe districts, and if we were to come up, I'm going to work on my. I'll tell you about my plan to let AI draw all districts later. Yep. So the news portion of it is not just that, but this is the second time that the Democrats have run away.
Apparently,
do you remember what the last?
No, I don't.
But it wasn't gerrymandering. It was some other reason that they're like. So what's a quorum?
So the idea is in order to have a legit meeting. Let's say that you have 100 members of your board of directors or whatever. Yeah. And you say
non-political.
Yeah, non-political. Yeah. Just you have some group, and you don't want 5 people to be able to meet together and make decisions on behalf of the whole group. You have to say, so look, at least 70% of the people.
Right. If 30% are on vacation.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You just can't have a meeting.
That's enough. The other 70 can make the decision.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but you can't have a tiny group.
Yeah.
So the idea of a quorum is you have to have whatever that threshold is.
Yes.
It could be half, it could be 70%, it could be 90%, whatever you've decided in your founding documents or whatever. So the Texas legislature can't pass anything unless they have a quorum, unless they have enough people there. So the Democrats say, well, we're going to keep them from having a quorum. We're going to leave. We're going to
But why can't they? State. But yes, but what's the deal with leaving the state? What if they all just like stayed at home and didn't show up?
Because then the marshals would come pick them up and drag them back in there.
Oh, is that how it works?
Yeah. So the same thing in the House of Representatives. The marshals and what's the guy who's in charge? Sergeant of Arms. Yeah. They're allowed to like grab people and physically bring them back in there. So if they stayed in the state, then the governor could have sent the police basically to go get them and drag their butts back in. There you go, Texas. Drag their butts back in there. But if they go to Illinois, one of the most gerrymandered states in the country, to complain about gerrymandering.
Here, read this one here.
Yeah.
This meme.
Democrats literally fled to this district to protest gerrymandering, and it shows this.
What is the craziest? I mean, it's like a dragon's mouth with a disease or something.
It's so clearly drawn to get some.
It is the worst of it's like one of the top 10 worst districts
so
ever.
They want to say no gerrymandering, so we're going to go to the place where gerrymandering is
the worst.
Is the worst.
Yeah. So.
And they got away with it. Greg Abbott was willing to arrest them, but they were out of state, and you can't arrest people out of state. So.
Well, yes, but could you arrest them when they come back? Well, this comes down to a future topic, which is why do politicians never face consequences?
They always skate. They get away with everything.
They threatened them. They said, when you come back, we're going to send the U.S. Marshals to arrest you in Illinois. When you come back, you're going to be in big trouble. It's a $500 a day fine for not showing up. They already passed that law after the last gerrymandering.
Right. Yeah,
the last
runaway Democrat thing. Yeah.
Do you think they're going to have to pay this fine?
No.
No, there'll be some. If they do, it'll be some.
Or if they do, it'll be some rich person. George Soros will come in and pay the money for them or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. So the problem of gerrymandering, of course, is that it skews the representation in the state. And there have been some things where people show, okay, if you look at this state, it's 45% Republicans and 55% Democrats, but they have 8 Democratic representatives and 2 Republican representatives. And so there's a disconnect between the...
Can I tighten up your numbers a little bit?
Okay, yeah.
We have 9 blue states with Republican voters at between 32 and 48%.
Okay.
And in these 9 blue states, there are 0 representatives.
Wow.
In the House. We have Massachusetts has 9, has more than Maryland. 0 Republicans and 36%. And then all the way Connecticut, Maine, New Hampshire. Now some of these are these tend to be small states. I mean, Rhode Island it is 42%, and it has 2 representatives, and they're both. Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? You can't force it. You can't force 42 to split down the middle. But in general, California is 38% Republican, and they have 9 out of 52.
Yeah. Okay.
So
that's
what
like
you
4%,
get is yes, and so this is so it's the Democrats that are fuming about somebody gerrymandering, and as far as I can tell, it skews very hard.
It skews very hard towards the Democrats.
Now, I read this other article that said the 10 worst states, and it had like 7-3 Republicans as the worst.
Okay.
Offenders.
Gerrymandered states, yeah.
But if you're going entirely on the numbers, I mean, do you really think so? No, let's say Nevada.
Yeah.
Has 4 representatives.
Okay.
And 42% Democrats. And you're going to gripe that's going to be one of your gross offenders, that it's not 2 and 2, that it went 3 to 1.
Well, 3 to 1, of course, it's 3 to 1.
I mean,
how can you go 2 to 2 when it's 42 versus
And when you get to the fine state of Maryland, did you know? I've got this here from. Do you remember?
Maryland is one of the most gerrymandered states.
Robert Ehrlich says it was 4-4.
Wow.
Out of our 8 was 4-4.
Huh.
That's nuts. So with say 35 to 40%, you would expect. So we have 8. Either 2 or 3. 2 would be on the low end, and 3 would be on the high end, right?
In terms of how many Republicans there are in Maryland,
yes,
right? Yeah,
and it was 6-2 for after. Well, it was 4-4.
Yeah.
Then it went to 6-2, so you had Western Maryland and Eastern Shore,
right,
were your 2, and then they redrew Western Maryland to include like parts of Montgomery County, yeah, so they could steal that. So it went to 7-1.
And some of the Maryland districts, if you look them up, they're ridiculous. They look as badly gerrymandered as any place else.
These are the 10 worst.
Okay.
Here you have Maryland's 2nd and 3rd. I live in the 3rd.
Yeah.
Will you look at that thing? What is that?
What connects all those?
It's not even a Rorschach test.
Right.
It is, and you can see how this weird shape fits into that one there.
Yeah.
And like, what? How would you possibly get that? What common cause would you have to say? Well, these people are all. Look at that thing.
Look at this one in North Carolina 12. It's just this long, thin line. And they're obviously trying to connect everybody along a road or something like that.
Yes. Well, so that one looks like the Texas one, which can only be, you take the urban centers.
Yeah.
So this is a very red area.
Yeah.
But they're going to connect Winston-Salem to Charlotte somehow, right, so they can get enough Democrats, just like the Texas 35th.
Austin and San Antonio.
Yeah. So what do they have in common? Not that much, just that there are a lot of liberals in San Antonio and Austin, so let's connect them down this sliver.
Yeah.
So
it's dirty politics. It's trying to allocate representation specifically along party lines. That's obviously what they're doing.
All right, but let's go back to the majority minority idea.
Okay.
If you're saying that only a black representative can properly represent black people, therefore we need to create this salamander.
It's so ridiculous.
Does that then say white people should never vote for a black candidate because couldn't possibly
represent them?
No, you don't know me.
Yeah, and it's so dumb, because if you think about all the ways that you could divide a person's loyalties is the wrong word, but associations. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, you could say by their race, you could say by their religion, you could say by their, by the kind of business they're in. Yeah. You could say by, whether they're interested in a certain, some particular issue, whether they're pro-life or pro-choice, right? I mean, so you can divide people up any number of ways. Why is it that race is the one that's so dispositive? You could say people who are for divorce, people who are against divorce, people, you could divide people up any possible number of ways. And the idea that black people can only be legitimately represented by a black representative is silly. Like, why? Does that mean Catholics can only be represented by a Catholic representative?
I mean, mostly. Well, I probably have a skewed view of what my representative should do, but I think like fixing potholes, picking up the trash, making sure safe streets. Mm-hmm. I don't really. I'm not sure what exactly a black politician is doing, or a Filipino politician is voting on what kinds of bills to mostly benefit Filipino people.
Yeah, no, I don't want that. So why are we creating these loyalties that have nothing to do with loyalty to, a bunch of people in that state? You're making these other arbitrary, stupid loyalties. I'm representing black issues. Well, no. You're supposed to be representing this group of people, not black issues.
What are black issues?
What is that? What does that mean? Do they like trash in their street? Or
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like the basic functions of government, I don't see the racial element.
Right. So when I drive along the parkway and I see that the grass and the weeds,
when are they going to take care of that?
Grown up all over the side of the road.
Only white people care about that?
Yeah, I mean, come on, it's silly. There's the basic functions of government. You pick up the trash, you clean up the streets, you put people in jail, you make sure the roads are working.
Make sure the bridge doesn't fall down.
Exactly. Those things, why does that vary? Now, where it does vary is like the farmers versus the city folk. that sort of thing.
Yeah, right. You might have the urban sprawl into farmland, and all right, we just got that there. There's no racial element to that. Now, can I offer or ask you? Yes, so all of these states, like Massachusetts, the 0 to 9, that's not, there's something. Is that the result?
Something is messed up there.
Is it? That's just the way it breaks down, or was it manipulated in that direction? 9-0. That sounds like it
sounds manipulated. Yeah,
but and I'm not saying that Massachusetts at 36, or let's just call it 33, has to be 6-3. 6-3 seems about right.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be that, because you don't know how it breaks out.
You don't have that. You could have a terrible candidate where people cross party lines, but could you have an AI program that tries to draw districts, considering geography and whatever, to get majority districts that represent the state? So in this case in Massachusetts, that you get 3 and 6.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean that they're going to vote that way, right? You can have a crappy candidate and they would cross party lines, but could you create that? Now, but what you'll be doing is you're creating a bunch of competitive districts that none of these politicians want.
Right.
They're like, I would rather trade I'll give you a safe, and I'll take a safe.
Yeah. So there's that side of it, which is they want the safe districts. But the other side of it is, I would want to know what the inputs are. Like, how does it pick whether my interests where I live are closer to the people who live 5 miles to my east or 5 miles to my west, right? Like, what are the factors that it says this group of people have a common interest, so they should have a common? Well, I don't even know what those factors would be.
No, that's what I'm saying. You're complicating an already terrible situation. I totally get your concern, but I just don't know how practically you could address that. So all I'm sticking with is voter registration, geographical location, and make sure that the state at least has a shot at representation that matches their, without drawing a salamander.
Or what if you did it exclusively by population? Like, you paid no attention whatsoever to.
You're going to compact. You're just every district is going to look like a tight little, as closest thing you can get to a square.
As much as possible. You want to say, okay, we need to have 750,000 people in every one of these pockets. So we're going to say,
with some consideration for, like, the eastern shore, the west. Like, if there's a huge bay that runs
if there's a big geographical thing,
big mountain range.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, we can put that in just numbers.
Yeah,
and they fall where they fall.
Maybe that would work. But the problem is, this is a political process. And the politicians are going to go in. So even if you had AI, they would say, "Hey, hack into that and change the way it calculates."
But this is what I would do. You know how when lawyers, when they do jury pool, you get like 2 strikes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so you have AI run one, and then each guy gets a strike. Okay. Until finally they're like, "Sorry guys, you're stuck with this third one here," and whatever that AI program that we decided on redraws the entire country, and of course when we use the PNC lowering of the number increase in the capital, they're gonna be like, now I got to put new seats in.
Well, they'd have to have a new capital, because we only have.
I mean, how many empty seats are there? There are more than 400. There got to be more than 435 seats.
Well, because when they have the joint session, they have the representatives and senators.
So there's more, 535.
There's got to be 535 seats in there at least. But so I think the other problem is that constitutionally it's up to the states to do this. So we can't have the federal government say you're going to have to use this AI program to do your districting, because it's up to the states how they want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, unless you had an amendment, no, that ain't going to happen.
The way it's more likely to happen is a court decision where the court says you've got to do it this way because we think it's whatever.
Yeah, but it's sloppy and it's dumb. And when you look at these districts, you're like, well, what is going on here?
I know, it's crazy. It's
how do these people over here in St. Petersburg
have something to do with all those people way over there? Yeah, some of these things are pretty ridiculous. All right, so anything else on gerrymandering? Because I got a question from a listener.
Well, I think that... I think that's fine.
Okay, so one of our listeners, JR, wrote in and said, regarding your discussion of this topic on your Supreme Court show, conservatives used to laud nationwide injunctions when the object of their scorn was the Affordable Care Act. Now that the shoe is on the other foot and involves birthright citizenship, they object. Intellect, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so he's saying that we should be consistent. And then you lament that Justice Barrett has occasionally strayed from the conservative team in some of her opinions. To the contrary, we should all be grateful that justices show some independence. The courts are the last line of defense against the excesses of the other two branches. Well,
at least for the second part, well, I wasn't so much lamenting. I was sort of giving the recent history of. I remember saying, Barrett was considered, a Trump appointee that she would toe the party line. Mm-hmm. She didn't in these 3 occasions. Mm-hmm. She did in the following 3 occasions. I might have sounded like a cheerleader, but I was really just trying to chart the recent history of Amy
Coney Barrett. Yeah. See, my attitude towards that is I do want Supreme Court justices to have some intellectual independence. I want them to...
so you don't want to already know every case. You're like, well, this is going to be 7-3.
Yeah, and that's not the way it's been. I mean, we have the conservatives and we have the liberals, and then there are some people who are in the squish, but you have people that it's pretty much understood they're going to vote this way or that way, and I don't really like that, because if that makes it sound political rather than intellectual, which is what it should be.
Yeah.
Now, on the nationwide injunctions question, it's possible that conservatives used to be in favor of them and now they hate them. And my reaction to that is it always depends on whose ox is being gored. That's the way politics works. It's like when one party is in power, they hate the filibuster. And when the other parties, and they just kind of switch talking points. It's kind of like the leader of the Republican Party will say, "Hey, here are the talking points I used last time. Let's just switch." They change their cards around, and they use the same talking points going the opposite direction depending on who's in charge.
But I think what we were saying was that the accelerated nature.
Yes. Yes. There is that.
Well, wait a minute. Yeah. Yes, that is true. That 12 years ago, when there were 20 nationwide injunctions, yes, in the Obama years, mm-hmm. that there were Republicans that were for that.
Yeah.
But now that when you get 65 in the first 30 days,
right.
whatever the ridiculous numbers are,
yes.
it's like it seems to be
a little different.
Problem.
It's a little different.
Seems to be that's a problem.
So it's a good question. It's a great question. And if you have a question for the show, write to pigweedshow@gmail.com. Remember to like and share this episode. Find somebody who might appreciate our ramblings and give them a suggestion.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks so much for listening to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. Remember to visit us at pigweedandcrowhill.com or send us an email at pigweedshow@gmail.com.